This is Disneyland News Today. I'm Tom Corliss, and here now are the top Disneyland Resort stories for March 23rd, 2023. After 3 months, the long refurbishment of the Indiana Jones adventure has come to an end at Disneyland, and we were there on Friday to check out all of the new changes, including some brand new scenes and effects. Of course, what everyone's been talking about, there are some updated or at least cleaned up projections towards the very beginning of the ride on the doors that lead to the chamber, and of course on the giant Mara, in which someone in the car, I don't know who it is every time, but somebody will inevitably look into the eyes of Mara and lead us directly to the Gates of Doom. And there is a new lighting effect, in fact, behind the Gates of Doom, which Dr. Jones is nice enough to hold closed so we don't, die or get possessed or whatever I don't know what Mara's exactly trying to do to us, but whatever it is, can't be good. And beyond that, there is a completely new scene. They got rid of the scene where the rats were projected on a branch on sort of a mist screen, and in its place is a projection map sort of collapsing hallway effect towards the end of the ride, just before the dart room, in fact. You can watch a ride-through video of the updated and refurbished Indiana Jones adventure right here on our channel. It looks great. I don't want to talk about it too much. We are going to do an honest review of this attraction. We're going to go back and do some attractions that are older and do the honest review series on them. So stay tuned for that. I won't talk about much how I feel about the changes or the ride in general here right now. Of course, last weekend was also the opening of Mickey's Toontown, should I say the reopening of Mickey's Toontown after it was closed for over a year. You may recall that Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway opened back in the end of January on the 27th. Well, originally in early March, they were supposed to reopen the rest of Toontown, but it officially happened on the 19th, and they soft opened, in fact, at about 1:30 p.m. on the 18th, and there is a lot to talk about. First of all, obviously, Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin came back with little to no changes. I know people were really worried about that. You can watch a video of that right here on the channel. They also released a whole bunch of new merchandise at Engineers Souvenirs, including, you see there, the shoulder chubby that's available, lots of new clothing, new toys, lots of very cool stuff, which you can see posted at DisneylandNewsToday.com. They also opened some dining locations. The Good Boy Grocer's open. That's sort of a grab-and-go snack spot. A fruit stand is kind of what they call these locations at Disneyland Resort, and that is where they have the picnic basket and the picnic blanket, of course, available. No mobile order there at Good Boy Grocer's, but next door there is at Cafe Daisy, which did eventually start allowing mobile orders of the picnic blanket and the basket as well. Cafe Daisy also has a full menu of really interesting offerings, such as there's donuts and a special cold brew coffee, pizza foldovers, lots of interesting stuff. We actually tried every single item from Cafe Daisy. You can watch a video of me trying all of that right here on the channel, or if you want to read the reviews, they're up at DisneylandNewsToday.com. I actually went back and got 2 more of the kids' meals. They're not in the video, but they are on the website. And the pizza was, you got to go read the kids' pizza review. It was interesting. I'm sad I didn't end up doing it when we did the video, but it's worth reading. I think you might be surprised with the results. Also, they opened the Goofy's How to Play Yard and the Donald's Duck Pond area, both opened. At least somewhat. The little splash pad area of Donald's Duck Pond is still not open as of recording. Interestingly enough, they also opened the Centennial Park area, which includes the Mickey and Minnie Fountain at the center, and then also the Dreaming Tree and that whole area, which has had some interesting results as well. The fountain was open for about an hour on the soft opening day and then closed. Supposedly there were some pH level issues. They needed to chlorinate it very heavily. It did eventually open on Tuesday, and we got to go to the fountain, but still not fully finished. There's a lot of water effects not working on it yet. The lighting is not there yet. It's supposed to do some lighting effects in synchronicity to the background music loop. We're not seeing that yet. And then the Dreaming Tree opened, which of course is this padded play area where kids could just sit under a tree, or there's all sorts of little branches they can go under and over and play with as well. And then we also had plenty of character meet and greets as well. Daisy is out greeting outside her cafe. She'll come table to table while guests are there. We had the Disney Parks debut of Pete. That's right, for the first time ever you can meet Pete the cat. And yes, he is a cat. People don't know this. But you can meet him in Toontown as well. We've had mixed results with him coming out. Some days, it's been a rainy week too, so that's not been helpful either. But Pete is available occasionally. We also have the revamped Chippendale Gadget Coaster, which has a number of new statues of Rescue Rangers characters, not something we suspected, really. So not only is there Chippendale, but also Zipper and Gadget. And all I can think about is the disrespect for Monterey Jack. Monterey Jack, the only Rescue Rangers hero that does not get included in this attraction. I don't know if they ran out of, like, resin or fiberglass budget to make him. I mean, he's the biggest of the five of them, but nonetheless, the ride came back very refreshed and neat, and also coming back refreshed with very little change was Mickey's house, as well as his meet and greet, and as well Minnie's house. We have exhaustive coverage up at DisneylandNewsToday.com. So much more to talk about: the souvenir cups, the popcorn bucket, all this stuff. Again, too much to talk about here on the show, but in fact, as you guys always ask for it, we are recording. In fact, right after we record this episode, we're going to record a Tom's Honest Review of the revamped, the reimagined Mickey's Toontown at Disneyland. We'll talk way more about everything in the land and dissect every last single thing there is to talk about. So make sure you tune in for that. Speaking of Toontown, Magic Key holders are able to pick up a special limited edition print designed by Asia Ellington to celebrate the reimagining of Toontown. The prints may be picked up from 2 to 7 p.m. every day at the Frontierland Trail through March 31st while supplies last. This is just on the other side of the entrance of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. According to the official Magic Key Instagram account, to celebrate the reimagining of Toontown, Magic Key holders can pick up this special print designed by Asia Ellington. Be sure to take a close look to see if you can find the hidden Mickeys in the artwork. It's first come, first serve, while available, while supplies last. They may be picked up again across from Galaxy's Edge. You might want to hurry because who knows how many they have, but it's a cute print. It's nice. Disneyland will be expanding their May the 4th festivities to a Star Wars month this year. The party kicks off in May with the reopening of Hyperspace Mountain and several Disneyland After Dark Star Wars night events. In celebration of the franchise's popularity, Disneyland again extending what was a day or two celebration into a whole month of May. According to the OC Register, the month-long event will feature epic encounters and themed food and beverage items inspired by the cinematic galaxy far, far away. The month will be kicked off with a couple of fan-favorite events, starting with the Hyperspace Mountain overlay of Space Mountain, and as well, again, Star Wars nights at Disneyland After Dark. From May 1st through June 4th, Space Mountain will again be Star Wars themed. The ride experience features iconic music by John Williams, and the overlay was created to celebrate the intellectual property and the informal holiday May the 4th for a play on words in reference to the popular movie quote, "May the Force be with you." The enormously popular Disneyland After Dark Star Wars night is already sold out for all 4 of the dates in early May. And guests with a special ticket for this event can enter Disneyland Park without a park reservation on May 2nd, 4th, 8th, or 11th, depending on which date they purchased the ticket for. Star Wars Night includes multiple exciting events, including special food and beverage offerings, character meet and greets, and shorter than usual lines on popular attractions. The evening also usually features a fireworks show set to Star Wars music over Sleeping Beauty Castle. And you can actually watch. We have videos of all those offerings. We went to Star Wars Night last year. It should be mostly the same this year. You can check out the fireworks show, the character meet and greets, all that fun stuff right here on our YouTube channel. Be sure to check it out. As for the other details, we don't know what the food and beverages, we don't know what the meet and greets will be. I assume some of these Star Wars Night meet and greets will get rolled into daytime, but then again, that kind of kills the value of buying tickets to those events, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I saw a lot of people commented they were not happy that Hyperspace Mountain was coming back. I didn't know people disliked that. That's my favorite version of the Disneyland Space Mountain. But let us know in the comments. Is it your favorite? Are you mad it's coming back? Let us know. This program is brought to you by our official travel agent sponsor, The Vacationeer, the engineers of your next magical vacation. Sit back and let their team of vacation planning experts craft your family's next magical Disney trip. And the best part is their services are free. Visit WDWNT.travel for details. Space Mountain has resumed its single rider system at Disneyland, and it's unlike any of the single rider queues anywhere in the world. Single rider lines, of course, allow solo guests or those willing to split up from their party the chance to bypass the standby queue, electing to ride with uneven parties in exchange for the advantage of a shorter wait time. The option allows for each ride vehicle to be filled as guests who elect to ride as a party of one are funneled into the uneven parties waiting at standby, making sure, again, every seat is full and the ride is running at its fullest capacity. The Disneyland version of Space Mountain features ride vehicles with side-by-side rows of 2 seating, leaving uneven parties with open spots. And to fill those seats, Disneyland introduced their last version of the single rider queue as a test back in 2021, but now it is back with a revamped and unique procedure. Guests opting to take advantage of the shorter wait time are given a laminated badge to designate them as a single rider. Unlike the previous run-through where you went to the ride's exit, what you're going to do now is actually go to the standby line, and they have a single rider line down at the bottom where you enter, and they'll tell you just go through the standby until it splits. Up at the top of the ramp, it then splits off. And so suddenly standby goes right and single rider goes left, and you go left alongside the lightning lane queue. And what's interesting about this is, so what they're doing is they're pairing you specifically with lightning lane guests. So at the entrance of the building, when you go into the building where lightning lane would usually turn that corner and go inside, there is a cast member there merging you. So what they're doing is they're asking the lightning lane parties how many people are in the party. And if it's an odd number, then they pick people out of the single rider queue to go with them. So they make this big show out of it. They pull you up and they're like, all right, in my case, there was a party of 3 and me, and they're like, all right, you are now a party of 4. And they took my little laminated card. They're like, you're now a party of 4. They didn't really know what was going on, so I led the charge. And basically you have to tell them as if you're a party of 4 the rest of the way through the queue. When you get to load, they're gonna ask how many people are in the party. That's when you would tell them 4 and not I'm a single rider, because they're usually in a case of a single rider, most other attractions, it goes up to the load area and then they kind of just pull you out as they're doing the load process when they have an empty seat. This is by far the earliest in any queue at a Disney park I've ever been put with another party as a single rider. It's really wacky, really wacky. But it works. I mean, there was nothing wrong with the process. The only thing I can think of is I think people might try to cheat the system, knowing how early you hand the card in. Like, you really could just, once you get into the load, not necessarily at the immediate load area, but obviously there is a long winding queue that goes around that whole room of the load area. You could, if you split up from the rest of your party all in the single rider line, you could probably attempt to fall back and meet up with them and then just try to load regularly. I mean, it's not worth it. I think people are going to try it. It's probably not worth it. I think you could be ejected for that. You don't want to be ejected or trespassed from Disneyland. But that was the only problem I saw with the process, was I felt like that could happen. And the party that you got paired with may not necessarily be looking to go down to the load area and tell them like, hey, we had a single rider and they bailed. That's probably not a thing no one's really probably going to take on that load of informing of tattling on you, right? So that's the only problem I see. Otherwise, it works real efficiently and it's nice. It's back. I know a lot of Disneyland guests are excited that single rider is back as well. Now the question is, will it ever return to the other attractions it was at? Polynesian guests have taken to social media to criticize the choreography of the Moana section of the Magic Happens parade, which recently returned to Disneyland. Magic Happens only performed for 2 weeks back in 2020 before Disneyland closed due to COVID-19. It returned mostly the same, with a slight removal of a zippity-doo-dah line in the song. But now that more guests are getting the chance to view the parade than before, those from the Pacific Islands and of Polynesian descent are expressing disappointment with the Moana section. Hawaiian TikTok user I apologize if I butcher this. I am just a white man. I try my best. Keanu maybe, shared a video disapproving of the choreography, writing, "Y'all should not have put us in the front row of this parade. No hate to the girl who's playing Moana, but the choreographer needs to do some different work." Meanwhile, over the weekend, we did actually go see the Magic Happens parade with a Hawaiian friend of ours who lives in Southern California, and they had this to say, quote, "Hula is the telling of a story with your hands. It's about the Aina and the land. This is a complete of the culture. It would be better for her to just stand there and wave," he said. Meanwhile, he said the Kakamora performers that follow Moana's parade float were okay. He also noted that he did not like the fake-looking Maui suit, proposing that Disneyland instead recruit an actual Polynesian man to serve as the character. Hula, of course, is a complex ancient Hawaiian dance that interprets the words of a chant or song into movement. Other Polynesian cultures have similar dances, but hula is specific to Hawaii. Hula is sometimes used in a religious context to honor Hawaiian gods and goddesses. Co-choreographers Stephen Dishavi and Sarah Kobayashi spoke about the Magic Happens choreography in a video on the Disney Parks blog way back in 2020. Dishavi said of the parade overall, quote, "Part of my research in thinking about developing this choreography is thinking about those magical moments in the movies." Kobayashi said of this particular sequence, "For the Moana choreography, we have a new prop. It's a veil poi, creates a beautiful ocean imagery. The choreography itself is sort of a contemporary look on hula mixed with hip hop." They have since removed those props, by the way, the veils, but nonetheless, the choreography still has those influences. According to her LinkedIn profile, Kobayashi is no longer working for Disney as of March 2020, while Dishavi currently works as a Disney maintenance choreographer to, quote, "create and maintain show quality and integrity on a daily basis." I am really honestly surprised by this, because I feel like Disney Entertainment, especially in recent decades, has taken such pride in trying to integrate real culture into what they do. Right when they did Alani, all I've heard from people and people of Hawaiian descent who I know who've been to Alani say everything's done very tastefully. It's very well done. I think about other things, other cultural performances at the parks. That's usually the review, and that goes back a long time even. And so it's so surprising. There is a large population of people familiar with hula dancing in Southern California, right? You're not, as far as being in the continental United States, you are about as close to Hawaii in the continental United States as you could get from California. And so there's a big, so obviously there's going to be a number of guests who see this and maybe take, and so I was surprised. So we saw the parade on Sunday with our friend, and he was really bummed about it. But then we started to come across a lot of social media. I only shared a couple with you. There were dozens of TikToks, Instagram posts, tweets from so many people of similar descent and backgrounds who said very similar things, and that's why we decided to run the story, because clearly at this point it's not just a couple people taking umbrage with it. There's a large group of people who've now seen this and all, not inspired by the others, have come out to say this about it. So I imagine in Southern California, it would not be hard to find someone to teach hula to parade performers and to redo the choreography to be perhaps correct. I'm surprised that didn't happen the first time. I know they said they tried to take a creative liberty and combine hula and hip hop dancing, and they tried something. You try things. Sometimes they don't work. In this case, I guess it didn't work. And so I think it'd be an easy fix to just bring someone in and redo it. And I think it would mean a lot to a lot of people. So I hope they get that done. Guests may now book reservations for the Celebrating Disney 100 at the Disneyland Resort guided tour. The brand new limited time experience at the Disneyland Resort begins April 7th. Guests can now book the limited time experience online on the Disneyland website. It's $110 a guest for a 120-minute experience. Tour guests will experience the Disneyland Resort as a living story where they will uncover tales of how the Walt Disney Company has brought magic to the guest experience for over a century. By visiting special sites around the parks and exploring Disney's iconic fantasy worlds and characters, tour recipients will learn about the creative process that continues to inspire minds and hearts. By signing up for the tour, guests will also have the opportunity to chat with an animator at the Animation Academy and even enjoy a unique drawing experience featuring special versions of the iconic characters for the Disney 100 celebration. When touring Sleeping Beauty Castle, guests will have their picture taken in front of the Disney 100 decorated castle, and included in the price of the tour is a digital download of this memorable photo opportunity. In addition, on the day of the tour, each guest will receive access to reserved viewing for the Magic Happens parade. You could see Moana, and do whatever she's doing. And a park reservation and admission for Disneyland Park on the same date of the tour are still required for each guest and are not included in the price of the experience. The tour bookings adhere to the Disneyland 24-hour cancellation policy as well, which means the full price will be charged and forfeited if a guest cancels within 1 day or is a no-show for the reservation. Again, as of writing, the tour costs $110 per guest, ages 3 and older, and many dates are already sold out, so you may want to hurry over to the Disneyland website to book that. It also includes a special, I think there's a special treat and a pin as well that are exclusive to the tour. You can support the entire team behind this show and others by joining the WDWNT Inner Globe Society at patreon.com/WDWNT. Get access to exclusive content, discounted show and event tickets, and more. Special shout out to all of our WIGS members who make this show happen every week. For the absolute latest Disneyland news, head on over to DisneylandNewsToday.com and follow us on your favorite social media platforms. If you're enjoying the show, be sure to like this video, subscribe to WDW News Today on YouTube for more great content, and click the bell for notifications. Also, hit select all notifications so you never miss an episode of the show, nor all of those. We have so many Toontown videos, a whole walking tour of the land. Make sure you go check it out. For DLNT, this is Tom Corliss saying enjoy the rest of your today. Have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.